Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is February 26th, and today we're going to take a look at these systems that are rolling through this weekend and on into next week, bringing some potentially heavy rain and some windy conditions at times. There's going to be a transition from snow to rain on the eastern portions of Washington and Oregon with this first system. We'll take a look at that in a little bit of detail. Take a brief look at the rest of the country, see if anything's going on, but most of the action is right here in the Pacific Northwest. As you can see, this cold air spilling out over the Gulf of Alaska, spawning these systems. You can see well out over the Pacific here, there's an atmospheric river that's got our name on it. It's going to bring some heavy rainfall early next week. So let's just dive right into things here. You can see we've got winter weather advisories for portions of the Cascades, Washington, and Oregon, winter storm warnings for the Olympic Mountains, wind advisories for areas of Skagit, Whatcom, and the coastal areas. And there's high wind warning here for Whidbey Island, San Juan Islands to get these powerful southeast winds moving through here with this first system. And Port Townsend area also. Sneaker wave advisory if you're going out at the coastline, especially tomorrow morning. Watch out for those sneaker waves. And, you know, that water's really cold. And there's some big logs in there, waterlogged. And it can really do a number on you pretty quickly. So heads up for that. You can see the precipitation finally moving into the area here on the Dopplers. And checking out a little bit closer, you can see those high wind warnings there for the island, Whidbey Island, San Juan Islands, Port Townsend area there. Now looking on into Spokane here, they do have some snow chances, transitioning to rain late for a lot of areas. Of course, it's going to stay as snow in the mountains, but the valleys are going to start to warm up a bit as we go into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. As you can see, we warm up pretty good on Tuesday and Wednesday. So taking a look at what kind of snowfall we can expect over some of the region here as we go on into tonight. You can see the snowfall starting up over the Olympics and British Columbia. The Cascades start getting in on the heavy snowfall there going through Sunday. And then you'll notice another system comes through and starts really piling up the snow there for the North Cascades. You might get a winter storm warning out of that for the heavy amounts. And you can see Northeast Washington, Northeast Oregon getting on the action, the higher terrain. And this goes on into Idaho and Montana as well. You can see the Oregon Cascades are left out a little bit for this round through next week as the real heavy snow piles up over the Washington Cascades and just kind of cuts off right there at the border. As you can see for Spokane, there's going to be a transition as we go into Sunday night into Monday. You might get an inch or two into Spokane, lesser amounts towards Yakima. And you can see how much Spokane is going to warm up there from these really chilly temperatures this weekend on into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday as you get up towards the 50s a couple of these days. So you're going to stay above freezing for a few days. It's going to feel really warm for portions of eastern Washington coming up here. A little taste of spring. And as we check out the winds here, this is the NAM 3 cam. This is just to highlight the timing of this. So it looks like this afternoon on into evening is when these high winds are going to pick up over Whidbey Island, San Juan's, and Port Townsend area. You can see a pretty good burst of wind for the Washington, Oregon coast, but nothing too extreme. As these Cascadia winds die down on into Sunday morning, these east winds through the gaps, you can see that we're going on Saturday morning. And as we go on into the future a little bit more here, you see that front kind of cut off. And the next system right on its heels picks up the wind again Wednesday morning. You can see it even includes a Puget Sound a bit this time as a little bit better winds, mainly Oregon coast here as we go on through Monday morning, and some strong winds again out of the southeast for Skagit, Whatcom coastlines there, and Whidbey and the San Juans. And as we go, let's check it out. Let's go on in to see what the max wind gusts are calling for here on the NAM. You can see on that Monday system, you might get some wind gusts up above 40 for the Seattle metro area, a little bit higher as you go south. And again, those big winds, as you can see, painted here on the NAM 3 cam. And some pretty good winds coming on the next few days here for the Washington coast as well. Some gusts over 60 miles an hour can be expected. And here we're looking at the European. We're going to kind of look at these systems as they roll through. Here's this low pressure that's going to cause the winds tonight. And the mountain snows, valley rains. And the next system will move up Monday morning here. And we'll kind of be in a tight pressure gradient. That's what's going to bring our stronger winds for Monday morning through much of the area all the way down into Portland and Willamette Valley possibly. We'll take a look at some of those speeds. But you can see this is an atmospheric river event coming through on Monday. And then it looks like it might double back over us again going on into Tuesday night and into Wednesday. So that's something to watch coming up here. We'll look at some of those precip amounts here shortly. Here's the European, a more wide look at the winds as they come in here. You can see this one has really got a good southeast component to it as we go in. You can see that low pressure move into Vancouver Island there into Sunday morning. The winds start to die down. You can see the next system on its heels here for Monday morning, bringing gusty winds across some of the interior regions here and some pretty good winds to the Washington, Oregon coast. Check that out. Really, Monday morning looks like a pretty windy day for the Oregon coast here. As you can see, this system blasting on shore with this atmospheric river pointed right at the Pacific Northwest. Here's the wind gust swath. So this highlights the maximum wind gust speeds, and you can see plenty of 50s, probably up for 60 miles an hour eventually on the, as you go into Monday morning for the Washington, Oregon coast. You can see it has Seattle highlighted at 40 here. So we'll take a look at some of these. Check this out. There's some Monday morning, there are some higher members in here with some gusts over 50 for Seattle, but those are really outliers. You can see most of them have gusts more towards the 40 mile per hour range, some even less than that. So this is kind of an uncertain system on just the track and the strength of it as far as getting winds into the interior. See some gusty winds coming in through here Sunday morning on some of these runs here too, but nothing too extreme in our future for Seattle. These aren't huge bomb cyclones moving into the region or anything right now. But you can see these nice warm temperatures coming up here on into next week. You should be up into the 50s for Seattle much of the week. And you can see these warm overnight lows here too. It's going to feel, you know, it's going to be some Pineapple Express action going on here Monday and Tuesday as they stay really warm overnight. Here's Bellingham. You can see some of these higher winds showing up in the ensembles. It kind of makes sense with these southeast winds that tend to favor the areas up north there. Here's Portland. They might get a little bit of a windy, some wind action with this system on Monday morning into Monday afternoon there too. You can see some of these ensembles up over 40, but nothing too extreme. Like here we're looking at precipitable water, and you can see the system moving through today and tonight as it brings mountain snow and valley rain and finally gets out of the area during the day Sunday. You can see the atmospheric river setting up here over the Pacific Ocean, taking aim at the Oregon coast already Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon. It continues into early Monday morning and continues all the way into Monday night. And then you see the atmospheric river sag south over southern Oregon, northern California, and then it starts to double back again. So it might get back over us again here on Tuesday evening into Monday morning. The second wave would definitely be lesser than the first, and some pretty good precipitation totals are going to come with this, as we'll see here. Here's the initial system today and tonight. And then you can see the atmospheric river starts to impact the area with some pretty heavy totals there, especially the Olympics, the coastal range. Look at the southern Cascades of Washington. They're getting some pretty hefty totals. We'll have to watch for some flooding concerns with this much rain in a short amount of time. But you can see eastern Washington even getting some decent precip here, so that's good for drought concerns. You can see eastern slopes of Oregon under the extreme drought get a little bit, but they could use more. You can see some pretty big precipitation totals over the Panhandle, Idaho, western Montana. So big change coming up here. It's going to be nice, warm, and wet with some windy periods coming up the next few days. Now let's take a look off into the extended a little bit here. This is last night's ensemble run here. So you can see the system moving through today and tomorrow morning. The next system on Monday, you can see kind of prolonged period of low pressure offshore here, steering that atmospheric river into us with a high over the interior mountain areas of the west. And this low fills and finally moves over the area on into later next week. And then you can see that ridge never seems to be too far away, rebuilds over us. And you can see a system moving over that brings a little bit of troughiness. Might just clip our region here going into next week. And we're getting way out into La La Land here, but this would be, this is Arctic air here, and this is troughing over the northwest. Would be kind of similar to our last setup here. So I don't know. We'll have to look for some model agreement on this, but that is kind of an interesting setup there. Although we are into early March, and it's really hard to get Arctic air into the region here once you start getting into early and mid-March. So take this with a grain of salt for sure. And now let's check out the Gfs Ensemble. This is a 06 run of last night. You can see the atmospheric river coming through here on Monday. And this system kind of fills and weakens. So pretty good model agreement there. And it shows the ridge starting to build here, but the European had it stronger. No, there it goes. So the GFS builds it up here. And is it going to show the same feature off into the distance. I mean, it has the west coast troughing, or the southwest troughing, with the higher pressure, the ridge over the northern portions. So there's a little bit of agreement in that aspect of it. And this is a mean ensemble run too, so this is going to smooth out these highs and lows a lot more as far as just settling on one solution. So here is the Canadian extended of last night. You can see the systems moving through in the atmospheric river on Monday here, going through now as this low fills. Good model agreement on that ridge rebuilding here into early March. And it has that trough going over the western portions, but let's go into getting toward mid-March now. And you can see it does have that similar pattern as the European, with the big high over the Yukon and Alaska and northern portions of Canada, and troughing over the west coast. So there is something to that signal there out in the extended. So maybe we'll go back into a cooler period here into early and mid-March. But again, this is so far out. We're going to have plenty of time to look at this. Take it with a grain of salt at this point. But it could bring some more active weather on into early and mid-March. So we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, so, you know, enjoy this day coming up today, the dry period, because the rain is going to return in a big way going into Sunday night into Monday for a lot of portions of the Pacific Northwest, and some pretty good snowfalls coming for the Cascades of Washington and the Olympic Peninsula there. And we'll have to watch for some flooding concerns with these heavy rains moving in here. And the area is going to warm up quite a bit here, so we'll have to see how far these snow levels are going to rise. We'll take a look at that in some more detail tomorrow when we have some better info on that, and we'll kind of pinpoint any kind of flooding concerns that might happen. And we'll see if any of these systems are going to bring some 40-plus mile-per-hour gusts for the interior, the Willamette Valley, and the Puget Sound, and maybe up towards southern BC, and see if we might be dealing with some nuisance power outages even. So hope you guys are having a good day. Click like and subscribe and leave some feedback in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.